That's kind of rude, you know? So I'll show you guys what I do. Take a glass and make sure you rinse that bitch. Take this fucking thing, rinse all of the parts, including the lid. This is what that looks like. Nothing special, nothing crazy. I just eyeball it. Now I'm gonna add the milk. Added the milk. And watch how much it sucks to pour this into the goddamn blender. Some of you might say, but you're supposed to remove the blade and then add the thing. Motherfucker, if I remove the blade and then load this, then I'm gonna have to grab some kind of utensil to move the fruit out of the way so that I can screw the blade back into it. Something that in my old blender, with the roller on the bottom, I didn't have to do. And now all of the milk is on the very fucking bottom and the fruit is up here. It's gonna make it thick. And in order to make it liquidy like I like it, I'm gonna have to keep adding milk. Whereas with my old blender, the normal blenders, this sufficed. That is why I'm mad. And on top of that, that fucking shit is gonna happen. Now I gotta fix it somehow. And I gotta keep playing with the lid, playing with the blade until it fixes itself. I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with it. Whereas with my old one, after the fruit is poured in, I'm done. I should be drinking it by now, but here I am, wasting my fucking time. I took out the blade, I screwed it back in. I fixed the lid, put it in different spots. Here I am, still fighting with it. What in the hell? Fucking finally. Wasted 5 minutes. Right, another thing I do is I add almond butter to this. Almond butter. And you saw how it's structured, right? The fucking blades and everything. I have to perform some crazy maneuver. I must see if I can set up the camera in a way to capture it. But I have to calculate just right how to pour the butter into it so it doesn't A, get on the wall, and B, get on the blade. Because remember, like, it's not gonna blend right. I have to somehow have a special spoon to dunk it in there as close to the bottom as possible. And even then, it's still a praying game. This is about as best as I can get the camera set up for this. I don't know what happened to my really long, tall spoon so that I can stir this from the very bottom. I'm gonna avoid making a mess at all costs, so I'm gonna wrap it with paper towel. But yeah, I better stir this right because otherwise it's gonna harden. And even though I store it upside down, it's still not a guarantee. Because what's gonna happen is at the end of this almond butter jar, there's gonna be residue that's gonna be hardened up. Anyway, here I go. Well, the side where the blade stopped is away from the can. But basically, let me see if I can show you what I'm doing. As I was reaching for the camera, I messed up and it touched the blade. But this is the shit I have to do. I have to pour it in there just right so that it doesn't land in the blade. Whereas with my old one, I could dunk it in there however I want and not have to worry about a damn thing. But when you're getting ready to use this shit, you have to worry so much about technique. Whereas the technique with the old one is, this is a damn blender. It shouldn't have to be pretty or so detailed oriented. I should be washing the dishes by now, but here I am, still fucking with this thing. And if you guys wonder what happened to my old blender, it was fine, it still worked. It's just that, I guess mom heard of a neighbor who had nothing, and we had this stupid Ninja that we got from my brother that he left behind after he moved out. And she didn't ask me, but I remember verbalizing how much I hated this blender, and she decided to give my old blender away. She should have given away this one. I don't care that it's a Ninja. I don't care that it's expensive. It could be a $10,000 blender. I hate it. And I don't want to just buy a new one because that investment should have been over. Like, I shouldn't have to re-buy something I already had. So that makes me even angrier. But at the same time, when I focus on goodwill, like, you know, Ma gave it to someone in need, whatever. My expense, but I never mattered anyway, so I guess it's perfectly fine. For the shit that I should be asked my opinion about, you don't ask. And for the shit that you should know me and know that you don't have to ask me just to act, you ask. I don't get it. But yeah, that's how much of a bad mood this blender puts me in, because the making of this stupid little video, the process of me putting all this shit together, it's over half an hour. With my old blender, this used to take me 5-6 minutes. And now the fucking light is blinking again. That's why I keep fucking with the damn lid. I don't understand at all. And I did not move the blade. As you guys saw, the spoon did nothing. All I did was remove the lid. Now it's acting stupid again. The way it worked, it's not working now, so I gotta keep trying to rotate it to see if I can find where it'll work. Fucking finally! Let's see if the yield was correct, because that is my primary problem with this thing, that it either produces too much or produces too little. As far as I know, let me unplug this because I just don't trust it at all. Basic safety. But yeah, I remember having problems with the end result. Let me see if I can recreate what it was. Okay, good. Somehow, this time around, it worked out. But I promise you that in the past, this thing yielded a lot because it wasn't blending it right. So somehow, I guess the smoothie god smiled upon me and it just worked out. But I promise you that usually I ended up with 2 glasses, almost full, because I just had to keep adding and adding and adding and adding milk. So I'm glad it worked out, because I'm honestly so pissed off already that I just can't. And I once broke a glass because as I was removing this to put it in the sink, I dropped it and it actually cracked my glass. So yeah, this thing is like a hazard all around. But anyway, I'm glad it worked out because I'm genuinely upset about this goddamn blender and how much fucking time it wastes us. And it doesn't necessarily make a better product, you know? But yeah, you guys, seriously, I'm super particular about cleaning, about the kitchen, and I do all that for a reason. I'm simple. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I enjoyed making this regardless because it still shows me. I didn't need to be shown, but it reminds me of why, unless I can quit my job now with the shit hours I get, why stuff like this is just not practical for me anymore. So anyway, among other reasons, I have a technique. It's flawless for me. But if I don't have my proper tools, I can't make it work. Anyways, I'll see you soon. I just tried some of it and I will say the milk being vanilla did not mess it up. I don't really taste the difference. I didn't add any protein to it like I used to, because the protein powder I use now is not proper for this flavor wise. I don't need to try it to know, but yeah, this is what I expected. So all that trouble at least was worth it, and the smell of smoke for some reason coming out of this thing didn't blow up on my face at least. So yeah, it was successful this time around, and I'm sad that I didn't get to prove my point of how I hated using this because of the yield or lack thereof. Anyway, it worked out. I'm glad. But fuck, this felt like a shift.